Good morning, Sri Lanka. My name is Anisha, and joining us in conversation today is no ordinary individual. Hassan Esufally has officially been the first Sri Lankan to run marathons in all 7 continents and is a prestigious member of the 7 Continents Marathon Club. Hi Hassan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction, and thank you for having me.
All right, first of all, congratulations on such an amazing feat.
Thank you very much.
Shall we start at the very beginning? How did you start your journey in this incredible journey?
So actually, so it started for me when I was a student at Melbourne University. Over there, I was part of Ormond College, and I saw an ad in the paper. I went to my friends, ad in the paper for the Melbourne Marathon. Mm-hmm. So I went to my friends down, I ran down to the hall and I said, look, I want to do this. This is really cool. And at the time, I was doing other things. Again, I was doing hiking. I was tennis captain for the university, but this really piqued my interest. Mm-hmm. So, and they all said, no, you're not going to be able to do it. And one of, and one of them laughed. Well, they all were like taking jabs here and there, and then one of them had actually done 2 marathons before me and said, no, you're not going to be able to do it in 3 months in this time frame. Mm-hmm. But that just made me even more determined, because I'm the kind of person, when I set my mind to something, I go after what I want. So I said, I found a training plan online, and I trained for it with no experience prior, and I finished the marathon. Which in retrospect, looking back, I did make a lot of errors. Like I didn't take the right amount of fluids or gels or caffeine or anything like that. Right. So yeah, but I finished it, and then the feeling of achievement, satisfaction, and fulfillment that I got after finishing that, just was amazing. And I had the idea of the 7 continents at that point. And then my friend, who I met later on a social occasion, was like, you proved me wrong, and I'm that much more. I have that much more respect for you for it. All right. So that was really amazing. Yeah.
Now, how many years did this take you to complete marathons in all 7 continents?
So you can say between 2 to 4 years, because I did the Melbourne Marathon in 2014. That was my first marathon. Mm-hmm. Then I did the IRONMAN, which is the world's hardest sporting event. So the full IRONMAN is a 3.86 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike ride, and then a full 42.2 kilometer marathon run, done in a 17-hour time limit, with individual time cutoffs for the swim, the bike, and the run, respectively. Yeah. So that means if you don't finish the swim in a certain time, you're not allowed to get on the bike. Mm-hmm. If you don't finish the swim and the bike in a certain time, you're not allowed to get on the run either.
That's insane.
So, and then you have to finish the entire 3 events in 17 hours. But for me, like, they had, for us, like, for that particular event, it was a 16.5-hour time cutoff, which is harder than a normal 17-hour time cutoff for a full Ironman. Mm-hmm. So that was a bit of a curveball thrown at us, but I mean, I was able to get over it and finish that, and then you become an Ironman for life. Mm-hmm. Once I finished that, I had the mental confidence to think, okay, I can do the 7 continents. So I did the Melbourne Marathon again in 2016, mm-hmm. and then it took me 2 years after that to finish the entire 7. So you could say 16, 17, 18, or you could, if you count the Melbourne Marathon and the Ironman, which I did initially 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
So in a span of 2 to 4 years, you completed how many? 10 races maybe?
I've done 9 full marathons.
Wow,
that's including one in the Ironman. Yeah,
it's quite impressive.
Yeah, in 7 continents. Yeah.
What would you say was the toughest race so far?
The toughest one by far would be the Inca Trail Marathon.
All right.
And that is officially the toughest marathon in the world. The reason for that is that the altitude is extremely difficult to manage. Mm-hmm. You're only given like a week prior to acclimatize to 14,000 feet, mm-hmm. which will be at maximum. Mm-hmm. Then the trail is also very, very undulating. It's up and down, and it's not an easy trail by far. It's rocky, etc. And then the weather changes because of the altitude. Okay. So when you're starting at like 10,000 feet, which is still high, mm-hmm. and then you starting at like 2 in the morning, like you wake up at 2 in the morning, you're starting in total darkness. You've got to run with the headlamp on for the first 2-3 hours. You cannot see anything. You can easily get lost. So you need to be aware of your navigation as well. So mm-hmm. those skills have to be present. Then once the light comes on, then you're in this amazing cloud forest, which is like you're above the clouds essentially. Mm-hmm. Then you have to move through different ecological terrains as well, because the part of the Inca Trail runs through the Amazon rainforest. So then it starts raining in the middle of the race. Oh, wow. Right, so you become wet, and then you got to start climbing to the top of the highest point. Mm-hmm. And when you get to the top, you've got to make sure your clothes are dry enough by that point, because at the top it's snowing, right. And you don't want to get cold, right. and you don't want to be freezing, so you've got to manage that as well. And then of course it's up and down, and more than that, the traditional Inca Trail is 30 kilometers, and that people take 3 nights and 4 days. Here, you're given an additional 12 kilometers run and a time limit of 13 hours to finish the entire race. So
It's insane.
it's very, very difficult. But once I finished that, I felt as if, once I finished the Ironman and once I finished that as well, I felt as if I could do anything. I still feel like I can do anything.
All right,
Touch
that's a
wood.
confidence boost. Your final marathon was in the Antarctic. What was that like, running through all of that snow?
Oh man, it was incredible. I mean, to be in a place like Antarctica, which only very few people have gone, I felt extremely privileged just to even be there. As a Sri Lankan, as a marathoner, it was amazing, and the people around me were amazing, and from all over the world they got together for a common purpose and a common cause. So we were supposed to be there for 2 nights and 3 days, like I mentioned earlier, and the marathon was supposed to be on the second day, and we leave the next day for back to South America to catch our flight. So we basically we got to so how it worked is I had to take 6 flights there.
Wow.
So the flights there also were pretty hard. So I flew Colombo, Dubai, Santiago, Dubai, Sao Paulo, Santiago, Punta Arenas, and then Punta Arenas on a private jet to Antarctica. So,
That's crazy.
and you're landing like on the ice runway as well. So yeah. So then, but the marathon itself was incredible. Like it was difficult. I would say it was my second hardest marathon that I've run. It was the underfoot snow conditions were about 1 foot. So every time you stepped on the snow, you felt as if your foot was sinking. Then you had visibility of like 5 meters or so you couldn't really see much in front. If you took off those glasses, you couldn't see anything because you were pretty much snow blinded. And so you had to make sure the glasses didn't fog up and all that. Then you had to wear spikes on your shoes, which I didn't in the end because the snow was so deep that I didn't need to, and it wasn't that hard. It was like a soft kind of snow. It was freezing. It was below. It was like between minus 15 to minus 20 the entire time, and it was a little windy, but not super windy, which is nice. Like you don't want to be getting so much wind chill. But then finishing the race and then knowing that I was history on the line, and that was like I'm going to be the first Sri Lankan potentially to achieve this. I was very, very careful about not to get injured in the race. There was a 10-hour time limit which the race director took off in the end because the conditions were not conducive to everybody finishing in 10 hours and nobody anyone finishing in 10 hours in that matter. But I was still happy that I was able to finish in 8.5.
Very cool.
And yeah, I remember very fondly running down the finish line with the Sri Lankan flag above my shoulders, and I was amazing. And I was in my mind. I kept repeating the mantra, I'm going to make history. I'm going to make history. And yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Sounds incredible.
Yes, it was really
now,
cool.
recalling this must be funny and exciting at the same time, but preparing for it must have taken so much of your energy and so much effort. Tell us what it was like getting into that mental capacity.
So absolutely, I think you need to have that even before you start. You need to have the mental confidence and the mental belief in yourself before you start anything. I think that's in anything, whether it's in sports, business, relationships, whatever. You need to have that you have to have an end goal in sight,
right?
And you have to have that from the beginning, even before you start. And you have to visualize that you're going to achieve it even before you begin. So the way I did it is I do meditation every single day, and in that meditation session I do 3 different techniques. I practice gratefulness for what I do have achieved and what I do have. I practice visualization, and then I also practice goal setting as well. So that mentally helps me. And in terms of physical training, I basically worked out every single day.
Right.
And I did my workout routine was 5-kilometer run on Monday. I do high intensity interval training on Wednesday and Friday. I do strength and conditioning on Tuesday and Thursday, and Saturday I do something like cross training, and then Sunday I do a really long run. And then also I did something quite interesting as well. I put a treadmill inside a freezer and I ran in it at minus 20 degrees.
Oh wow!
So I found somebody who had a treadmill outside Colombo, and I basically packed it up in the back of my Jeep, drove it there, put it in this freezer, tried on all my Antarctica Ice Marathon gear, and just ran in it for about an hour. And that was enough, I think, for me to get sort of used to the conditions that Antarctica would present.
Right.
Of course, it wasn't a complete simulation, but something's better than nothing.
I mean, yeah, training for something like that, you got to do some crazy things.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to all of the Sri Lankans out there, now you are wave making, you are change making. To all of the Sri Lankans out there who are too afraid to try something new and try, like, set a challenge for themselves, what would you tell them?
I would say that the initial thing is, I mean, everybody has fear. Even I experience fear when I do these. But the thing is, I never let that be my overriding emotion. My innermost dominating thought is that I can do this, and I will do this if I really want it. And I think that is something that you can, that you don't, that you can learn to develop. And you just have to do it by just taking the first step. That's the most important thing. Just take the first step. Obviously, you need to believe in yourself and have a plan and a strategy, but more important than that is when you're starting a diet, or whether you're starting a nutrition plan, or you're starting working out for the first time, or starting a business, or doing whatever it is, you need to take that first step. And then, as Richard Branson, he's one of my idols. He said, if an opportunity presents itself, say yes, and then figure it out along the way. But basically, just take the first step and have a plan in your mind.
All right. And what does the future hold for Hassan Esufally, and what can we see?
So in terms of my what I've done is, now that I've been able to build a brand for myself, I've launched my own online fitness training business, which you can find on, and you can contact me on Hassan Esufally Official, or on my Facebook page at Hassan Esufally as well. I have a website now as well, hassanesufally.com. You can contact me on that. So I want to help the Sri Lankan community get fit and inspire them and give them the right kind of workout and motivation and workout and nutrition plans for them. In terms of what I'm doing in terms of my goals, I have a few things set up, and I'll tell you what they are. So I've got selected for the Chicago Marathon, which is a world marathon major, and there are 6 world marathon majors. So there's Boston, Chicago, New York, Berlin, Tokyo, and London. I've already finished Boston, so that could be one of my next goals, to finish all the 6. And then I also want to start doing mountaineering a little bit. So maybe do Kosciuszko, which is a mountain in Australia, and then maybe Kilimanjaro as well.
All right.
And there's one more marathon. I might want to do the Polar Circle Marathon, which is basically the opposite of the Antarctica Ice Marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
Very, very
run
exciting.
in close to the North Pole. Yeah.
Very cool. I wish you all the very best for that. Thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure being in the company of such greatness. I wish you all the very best for the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you.